Hey y'all, we can go ahead and kick this off. Welcome to the Lamden community chat. This is a meeting set up by the community that we can get a chance to look at what's coming and what just things to get excited about, since I know Lamden's been getting a lot of attention, especially as of this week. So a lot of new people joining. So this is a good chance to just jump in and look at the new homepage designs, Lamden's new website. I will be asking to get feedback on this. So if someone notices anything that's misspelled, if someone notices a design issue they don't like, if someone notices that any way that it could be better, just shout it out and let me know, and then I can take that feedback. It is actively being developed. So depending on timing, we might not be able to make all the changes, but we can definitely, I can definitely take that feedback and see what we can do. So with that being said, if you haven't had the chance yet, this was in some of the communities, but this is going to be Lamden's new homepage. I'm showing you what it will look like on desktop. And let me just take a few minutes to explain kind of the thinking behind some of this. One, Stu wanted it to pack a punch. So he kept saying pack a punch because I think he wanted everybody to immediately, anyone that's come into this website, he wanted them to know it's a blockchain, you can develop on it. We love our developers and we pay them handsomely rewards. And we just have an awesome community, which I think all are true. Immediately, you can join that community, whether it's Telegram or Discord. Quick Start, a nice page that I'll go to, but it's just a way that someone knows, okay, I need to download the wallet, I need to get TAL, and I need to start using the dApps. So developers immediately have a place they can go to that, so they can see, okay, what is this language? Python, okay, how can I develop upon this? And then community and FAQ is if someone's confused or lost or needs help, they can use this link to kind of help them out. So yeah, again, we have the quick start that they can immediately kick off. And I feel like this has that punch that kind of tells you a lot of information about what Lamden is. And excuse me, and the section below is why Lamden is better. So it talks about that it's open source. It will be decentralized once we have nodes running. Stu mentioned they're using a lot of newer algorithms, and they make decisions not based on their investors or not based on money, but based on what the community wants and the community says. So they're not held to anybody making decisions, but what all of us want. So I'll go ahead and unmute all of you. And if anybody just wants to shout out and give feedback, and I can go through the rest of it, but I just want to focus on this right now. So you should be unmuted now.
Looks sick, Andy. Really nice.
Good job, Andy.
Thanks, Benji. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good design. I like it.
Yeah, this looks amazing.
Nice. Thanks, all. Okay, well, let's keep going. And I'll leave muting off so anybody can just unmute and jump in at any time. So we talked about why Lamden's better. We immediately, because Lamden is all about the dApps and what's being built on it, we want to give a huge shout out to everybody working on it. So in this section, we'll highlight all the new dApps being worked on and what we feel like is up and coming in this section. And again, at this point, we give someone a quick click, either if they want to go to that dApp, or if they say, hey, this all looks awesome, I want to start using Lamden and show me what I need to do to get into this. We're highlighting our developers again, so letting them know that it's open source, that we have everything they need to get started. Did someone have some feedback? Also letting them know we have all these bounties available, and this homepage is actually a good example. This homepage was a bounty. So anybody can sign into Gitcoin and see all the Lamden bounties and make some money off of what the Lamden team needs next. And we have a huge focus on gaming. We saw how successful Diego in Underground Warriors is. I have a level 25 Blaze that I'm excited about that I keep playing. So just getting people excited about Unity and making games on Lamden. And just showing these network stats. So whether it's the price that's getting people excited if they're investing, or maybe someone wants to go to Dapper token on Lamden, just showing them all these stats that could help them. Of course, we want to tell them about all the exchanges that they can buy or swap or bridge using Lamden. So just giving a quick link to them. I know the roadmap keeps coming up, and I didn't want to design something like most sites. I just wanted a quick, I wanted something that's easy to manage. So whether Stu can just jump into a Medium article, or he can, whatever he wants to set up in this section to keep up to date, because I know the roadmap is a huge deal to all of us to just stay in the loop. So this is that section. And then the community and anybody else that wants to be involved in any community members, I feel like this is a good space to show all of us off.
The Avengers.
Yeah.
Looks beautiful, man.
Thank you.
Also, question, Andy. The stats, are those live? Is it a one-time thing, or are the stats being updated every time when someone or somebody is going to deploy a smart contract or something like that?
Yeah, good question. This is, if you've been on Tau HQ, I'm hoping this pulls that same data so that it's constantly updating. No way do we want to do a static. Nobody's going to have time to update that. So yeah, that would be my preference, just using Tau HQ's data. And Jeff, I don't know if you want to jump in on that too.
Tau HQ.
Cool. Cool. And then thank you. And just connecting with us. So we not only want to support all of the social media that we have, but we also have other languages. So this Connect with Us is on every page. So that anybody that's from the Netherlands or somewhere else can have their Discord channel. That's kind of it. And yeah, and I can send this out. I know this is being recorded too. I can send this out. So if someone, I know sometimes I need a few minutes to kind of take something and think about it and then give feedback. So I'm on Telegram if someone wants to send me a message. I guess we have these other links too. So we talked about quick start. So again, we just want someone to quickly just say, give them steps 1, 2, 3. So step 1, download the Lamden wallet. Step 2, get some Tau. Step 3, use our dApps. Developers, so you're seeing a lot of this again from the homepage, but just telling us how we're excited we're in pushing them to that developer.lamden portal that we have.
Andy?
Yeah, what's up?
For the quick start, can you go back to that?
Yeah.
So for this one, I'm wondering if for people that are just coming into Lamden, if this is too quick. These steps are great, but I think we need some links as well, like in the text to guides. So download Lamden wallet, so that's the wallet itself, but then they also need the links to the guides how to use the wallet, and then buy, swap, or bridge. And then in that text, there should be links for the Lamden link guides and the
some documentation.
guides. Yeah.
Yeah, great idea.
Yeah, that's a good shout out, just because I know, I know we have a ton of good documentation we can link to. So that's a good idea to link to a lot of that.
Yeah. Otherwise, amazing. So continue.
Yeah, no, and good point too about the bridge too, because I know I see the Telegram channel and there are a lot of people asking questions that, yeah, we could avoid if we just had some documentation here. So yeah, good shout out. Community and FAQ showing on all our faces. And then I'm not suggesting these are the questions we go live with, but I feel like this is a good place to just have some good frequently asked questions that we keep seeing in Telegram for new people. So using this space to kind of get those most asked questions, maybe we limit it to 10 or 12, but now that I'm looking at these seem a little outdated.
I have a quick question. So, and this has to deal with, I guess, tokenomics, and maybe there should be like a link to a white paper or something that's like, I guess, like someone who like is more interested in like the technical aspect of things, because you have like proof of stake, Bitcoin, proof of stake, Ethereum, proof of work, Bitcoin. We know how tokens are generated or coins are generated with those platforms. And previously with the original like white paper from the ICO days, there were delegates and masternodes. Are there still going to be delegates along with masternodes, and how I guess like and I know that all this stuff is kind of like depending on when you guys launch nodes and and decentralized Lamden more. A lot of this stuff will start coming, I guess, to fruition. But maybe kind of like having I guess like an updated like technical overview white paper link on the page would be really helpful too.
So I could link to the old one if you see value in that. Jeff would have to speak to if there is any plan to update that or.
Specifically, what was the question? Are we going to do updated information on the nodes?
Well, no. So, I mean, I guess like, you go here and it's easy to get the gist of what's going on with Lamden and stuff like that. But I mean, if you look at like pretty much any other blockchain project, there's a white paper, there's a technical overview of where there's like a kind of like a deep understandings of like how things work with like, masternodes, delegates. This is, these are how new tokens are generated on the blockchain. I think that would probably be the only thing that's like really missing from the page is like kind of like an updated white paper that kind of like covers all the technical aspects of Lamden. Even if it's in the roadmap, but something people do like that, and especially people who want to of course like buy Lamden or get involved a little bit more. That type of stuff does help with that. From what I've seen with all the major blockchains that are in existence now.
Yeah, we kind of jumped a step, I guess. We're assuming that the person wants to download a Lamden wallet where maybe they haven't made their mind yet on that. So maybe we need to supply them with some of that information to actually convince them that downloading the wallet is the smart thing to do. Or
there's people that just buy into it because they believe in the project and stuff like that. But having kind of like a detailed like white paper that I don't even know if delegates are even still a part of it, if it's just going to be masternodes. Like on the basic tokenomics, when you look at like how many coins will be in existence for Lamden, like all that stuff is there, but there's still the missing piece of like I guess like the more technical workings on it of like once masternodes are released, are there going to be delegates or opportunities for people who don't want to run the masternode? Previously, like there were delegates. So I know, delegates are kind of like a question mark now. And I know that things are kind of like done differently, or decisions have been changed a bit since the original white paper was posted about it. But I do feel like that is also very beneficial to have on the site. As I think a lot of people in the blockchain world tend to be, more tech savvy, I guess, than the regular person. So, That's all I wanted to mention.
Yeah. So right now, the node infrastructure and architecture is a bit in flux, but we don't have anything for the new nodes concrete to publish. I'm actually just writing a bunch. Today I spent a bunch of time writing a bunch of documentation for the new developers to get them familiar with what the plan is. The plan is still a Masternode delegate structure. There are some differences to the old network and the new network, but we're not ready to like paste that on the brand new webpage yet. But I promise you, we're going to have a visualization of how the network's running, like what the nodes are doing. I want all that kind of like visualized on the webpage at some point. So when someone comes on, they can see, they can click on a node and see what that node's doing, what block it's at. If it's processing a transaction, what it's doing. We're keeping all that in mind when we make these new nodes to like make them as easy to get information about them as possible, so we can do cool things like that. So if someone comes to this website, they can see the network operating in a visual way, and that'll get them excited.
Yeah, or just like or even just like kind of like a technical plan or even blueprint, even if it's kind of more vague, I think would be kind of helpful. Because I know myself when I look at stuff, like I'll go to the page, and one of the first things I do with anything, I go right into the technical stuff, because that's like something that I personally am very much interested in. And
me too, the same way.
Yeah, like for example, I look at a lot of different blockchain projects, and like a month ago I read the Kadena white paper and technical aspects of it, and I was like, oh, this is like a cool project. I think like something like kind of like a technical outline or something for people like us would be important to also get those people interested as well, because community and FAQ is great, but it's also nice to have kind of like something technical that kind of like.
Oh, no, yes, I understand everything you're saying about all that stuff, and it's for sure we will have something. We're getting a brand new developer site being made. Stu was just talking to a guy today. We're gonna redo the whole thing, so we'll have a brand new developer site to go along with this site. And when we get specific technical details on the nodes, we'll have that out too. I understand where you're coming from, and that's almost the first thing I do when I go to some projects websites. Like, well, how do your nodes work? What's going on? How's the network run? And all that stuff will be there, I promise. I don't want to detract into node talk, maybe yet, from Andy's web tutorial here. So we can, if we got more questions about the nodes later, maybe we can hit on them. I have no problem talking about them. So.
Okay.
Andy, can I ask a question?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's really nice you guys are not anonymous, and there's pictures on the side. I think that's great. Is it possible to link some of them pictures to like your LinkedIn profile or something, that people really know you guys are for real?
Yeah, I was thinking, tell me what you think about this, is that there's something on the site now that if you hover over the picture, you get all the social media. There are obviously pros and cons of that. Like, someone might not know if you hover select the picture, you get the social media, but also if you put it all on there, it might clutter it up. So
well, this looks great already. I didn't even see, you could see the LinkedIn of the guys there. So that's awesome. That's all I wanted.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, again, just let me know on Telegram. I'm hoping we can send out a link to this just to get all the late feedback and people that can't join, just so everybody's included. And with that said, let's go back to the agenda. So I'm going to kick it off to AT0X now. He's going to talk about Rubik's DAO.
Hey guys, how are you doing? Can you hear me?
Hey.
You sound good.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is Ataxia from Nerd Quarters. Wanted to show you our work in Rubik's. We've been working on this for a long time. Let me share my screen. Can I share? Can you give me screen sharing?
Oh yeah. 1 second. Okay. You should be able to now.
Cool. All right. So let me just. I'm gonna do a small demo of the web page and go a little bit through the Rubik's documentation. But first, I want to explain a little bit of our rationale of why pursue Rubik's DAO in the first place. We've been following Lamden for a long time. We're super excited to see it grow. Over the past year specifically, we've seen the development of RocketSwap, and that's like the first DeFi primitive, right? You need for a good market, and that has had excellent success, allowed the launch of many other products, and the next step for us in the logical evolution of a DeFi market is the issuance of your native stablecoin, right? For this, we have a great example in MakerDAO, which we used as like a source of inspiration because we had to rewrite all the code base, but it is very much the same dynamics that powered at least the initial versions of MakerDAO, right? So what we came up with is Stablecoin Insurer. We call the stablecoin TAD, stands for TAO Algorithmic Dollar. So it is basically going to be a vault that takes TAO and issues an amount of TAD equal to your collateral balance, right? Or the amount you want to borrow. So it's a vault-based system, and what it enables for a DeFi crowd is that it is going to allow people who are holding a lot of TAO to be able to fund the growth of the ecosystem without giving up a share of the network. With which I'm sure is going to allow for a lot more like capital efficiency and a lot more things to happen in the space. So with that said, I want to show you a bit of the Rubik's documentation first. I'm gonna share the link in the GitHub so you can all go and read it. I just heard people like technical documents, so there's a lot here. So it's basically the same idea that we mentioned with Maker. You deposit TAO in your vaults, and here's an example. So you have Lamden, and you don't want to give up your TAO tokens because you pretty much think that the network is going to grow, but you have these expenses you want to cover. So we're going to give you a way to have liquidity available, and also to earn passive income because we're going to pay interest on people who have TAO collateral vaults. So you can, if you have big amounts of TAO, just take the stable coins, deposit them for interest gains, and earn that way. So let's go a little bit to the page, to Rubik's page, just to show you how it works. We'll have a working demo for testnet for everyone pretty soon. We're finishing just the last parts of integration. But we wanted to have a very simple thing. We think simplicity is the best way to attract newcomers. We have these vault mechanism. It basically explains you what you can do. At first, we're only going to use TAO, so it's going to be TAO only vaults for a while. We're also going to launch in like a limited fashion. So we're going to start with a cap, right? And we're going to expand it as we test the worthiness of the system. So you connect your wallet here. Let me see if I. Wait, I don't want to share my stuff. Hold on. I'll just leave this for you guys to explore in a demo by yourself before I show stuff I don't want to show. But here you connect your wallet and you can create the vaults. We have this system to be able to bid on liquidations. This is a liquidation interface. So you're going to be able to see here if there's vaults that are liquidatable and participate in that way in the system, closing bad debt and earning profits off of that. Then, like I mentioned, you can also stake your stablecoins, your TAD, and you can earn your interest using that. Depending on we can set the governance to give different interest rates. So it's going to be very interesting to see how we use the governance and the community works with that to have a very healthy system. All in all, it's very simple. We wanted to start simple and start with something like a building block, and we are partnering with people across the ecosystem to have very liquid pools at the start with Rocket Swap, and we're gonna have like all the possible design on the launch. So it's very interesting for everyone involved, and yeah, we're excited.
It looks great. You said it's very simple, but I think you got a lot going on here. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the idea is to make it. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, can you talk about how the price oracles work?
How the what?
The price oracles work?
The what? Sorry.
Wasn't Benji working on the price oracles?
Oh, the price articles. Yeah, the price articles are finished. We just successfully implemented the oracle. We had the oracle is calling the right price now, checking Rocket Swap. So we have our decentralized feed. All we had to do for it to work now is to work it into the back end so that the vault system knows the correct price. So that's something that was basically our last technical stop before being able to really show the product. And I think the working version of the beta is going to be on probably this week. You're all going to be able to play with it for a bit, and then we're going to gear up for the launch details.
The UX looks great.
I agree.
Thanks. Yeah, we have a great team working on this, and we've actually been iterating this for a few months now. It's very clean, very simple.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So there's some questions in chat about the Rubik's token. So the Rubik's token is first the governance token for the protocol. Second is that this platform generates revenue by taking the stability fee, right? So stability fee is basically a revenue capture mechanism, and we can use it if there's surplus to buy back and burn Rubik's out of the market. We are at this point, what I believe personally in crypto design is that if you have a good product, then your token has value, like intrinsically, but the process is going to be to find the best ways to capture that value for Rubik's holders as a collective. Because, for example, we also have something else to consider in Rubik's, in particular in Lamden, which is the fees from the contract use, right? Which could be significant. So that's another value accrual mechanism intrinsically from the use of the contract itself. We expect that this is going to be a very busy contract. So the amount of tau generated from fees could be pretty significant. So we're pretty excited about that. When launch? When pre-sale? Well, right now we're working on the final slate of the Rubik's tokenomics for the launch. We're going to announce the details that will include pre-sale and launch event details during probably next week. So you're going to be able to learn all about that next week, and we'll also announce the release date. But like I said, we have just finished the last technical hurdle, which is the Oracle. So we are ready to just make sure everything's working on a testnet and do this first limited mainnet release with a cap supply of the stablecoin.
Hey, it's Clay here. Can you chat about the seed funding? Because I think when I referred to it in the article that I wrote, I didn't explain it very well. Can you say who's involved in that seed round?
Right. So at this moment, we actually self-funded the project. I mean, between Will, which you all know, and I, we funded the whole development. There is going to be a seed round which consists of Lamden. Lamden has a development fund that that has been offered, and it will be used to basically fund the initial liquidity. So it's actually a pretty self-funded effort. The initial token holders are going to be those who were like directly involved in the development, which includes part of the Lamden team. So it's going to be a super fair launch. Like I want the nerd quarters to be known for having like extra fair launches, to the point that they're like too fair, right? But I think that's a great starting point for a community where we all have an even footing and can create a really valuable community around this.
Thanks, mate.
No problem. Any other questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be making sure to keep you guys all posted on the latest news. We are surely going to ramp up our activity. We have a Discord set up. It's a very nice setup for Discord. You're gonna love it. So want to invite you guys all over. Have any other questions? If you have any other questions, just send them on Discord. I would love to have feedback, and if you guys, I'll leave you. I'll open a beta test and share it on the Discord after I confirm with my devs, or they're gonna be mad that I made their servers overload.
Awesome. Thanks, Ataxia.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No. You're right.
I think we need a little bit of time. I know we want to show Nebula, but we need a little bit of time. So, Jeff, do you want to talk about nodes? Do you want to talk about?
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
I'm not prepared for anything, but
cool. And open Q&A if you'd be open to taking it. Oh, nice hat, by the way.
Thank you. Nodes. Okay, well, I put a super group together. Got Benji, got Endogen, got Only Luck, and all three of them decided that they would put current priorities aside so that we could push out the nodes finally. And I've been plugging away at them, but I get busy with things. There's sometimes more important things like people's funds get stuck or things like that, and I can't always get to them. There's been wallet updates, which have been taking up my time. So we're all going to take the nodes as #1 priority, and we're going to split up the work and just try to get them out as quickly as possible. So the idea with the new nodes is that they are the function in which we get this thing decentralized final. And that's a huge thing, right? Because The current nodes are doing their job the best they can, but they're kind of a single point of failure. Like the master node's taking all the hits. And then the new node system will have a lot of master nodes, and they can spread the workload around a little bit. So that's a plus. So whoever's running master nodes, you can split up the traffic between yourselves, and it's not one thing just getting hammered constantly. Yesterday, with all the price action and everything, we were really getting slammed. But honestly, it still did pretty good, which I was pretty happy with. So the new nodes, I say everyone can run one. Like, you can run one potentially on an old laptop or an old desktop you have. That's the goal. I don't really know. I have a Raspberry Pi in my basement running one of them right now, running the node software. It doesn't always keep up. And whether that's just a memory link, just some bad code, or it is just too slow, I don't know that quite yet. But that is the goal, to get that puppy part of the network and good to go. Yeah, so I say everyone can run a node, but it's the same. The old node Doco, for the most part, is still legit. So it's there's still master nodes, there's still delegates, there's still a governance structure that all works exactly the same way it's outlined. The details of how the nodes kind of like process transactions and communicate with each other and try to keep themselves in sync is different. The architecture that way is different. And we're architecting them right now to do millions of transactions a day, because we feel like if we set the bar there, then that gets Lamden for the foreseeable future, decentralized and fast, and we're good to go. And then we got a laundry list of improvements we can make to them. But if we went through that whole list to implement it right now, we'd be getting nodes next year sometime, and we want them out now. So we got a number of transactions per second we want to hit, which is basically just valued in how many we want to hit per day. And that's in the millions. And then that's going to be our goal. And they can do that now. So the goal has been hit, but there's a little bit of, packaging of the software and some communication stuff and some edge cases we still got to fill in. And that's what these guys are going to help me with. They're going to tick off all the boxes, and so we can get it out. And I hope to get it up on testnet in a month or within this month. It's almost the end of the month now, but middle of next month, we least have testnet running on these nodes. So people can at least run transactions against them and check them out and stuff. And yeah, so anyway, when we get to mainnet, you can run a node, but we'll take a node group. I'd love to get like 20 nodes to start off with. I don't even know if we have that many volunteers, but if you want to volunteer, there will be a time. You tell me right now, I'm just going to forget about you, and that's no offense. I appreciate if you want to run one, but tell me when we ask. We'll take everyone's names down and everything like that. But past the initial node group, it's the same governance system. So if someone comes in and says, or someone comes to the web page and it's like, I want to run a node, there will be a process where you got to get voted in. And that's the same as always. It's the same governance system as before. What else? I don't know. I think I kind of covered it from a high level. I don't want to get too technical with anything because I don't want to bore people, but is there any questions? Oh, the Manitou for a node. And don't worry about it. When we get down to like actually releasing the nodes, we'll figure out what's fair and we'll figure out what it should be. I don't know right now. It's not something we're talking about. Let's get them there first, and then that's something we'll have to talk about. It's probably currently set right now in the governance. I don't even know what it is right now, but it would be the same governance structure that would lower that amount or raise that amount from what it is now. I'm just going to scroll up here and see if I missed anything. If anyone, token requirements. Yeah, the only difference between a delegate and a masternode in this new system, let me think if this is true. Yeah, the masternodes are a little bit more, they have a little more power simply because they are the ones that distribute the transactions. So in this new structure, think in the old structure, the master nodes gathered the transactions and the delegates processed the transactions, and then they passed them back to the master nodes. Master nodes made blocks. In this system, every node runs transactions. It just gets you to consensus faster if everyone's involved. And the only difference the master nodes have is the master nodes still are the ones that receive the transactions. And because of that, they have a higher level of trust. So our master nodes will have to be the people we trust the most. And as a community, as a network of node owners, we need to make sure those are the most trusted people, and we keep an eye on the master nodes. Jeff confirmed Canadian. Get out of here. How are we looking on Neb? Does anyone have a specific question with the nodes? How will the end user benefit? The end user, well, I feel like everyone is so concerned with the network right now. It seems like we talk about it a lot. And hopefully with the new nodes, everything just disappears. And the users can just focus on using the product. They can focus on playing Underground Warriors and using Rocket Swap. And the tooling around the nodes, we're hoping to build up better for developers too. So we lessen the amount of errors. Hopefully we can do things like stamp estimation and things like that. So the apps can generally just run a little bit smoother, and users aren't so inundated with errors all the time or having to figure out errors. I'm hoping just to smooth out the user experience. I want people to just use the product, not let the developers worry about, the network. %9% transaction fee stay for Deb. So the nodes still, again, the governance situation is the same. We as Lamden set the dev rewards at 90% because we weren't trying to, take your transaction fees. We didn't need them. So we gave it all back to the developers. And when the new nodes come out, that's a topic for conversation. How much do you still want to give the developers? How much do the nodes need? It all depends on how much transactions are running through the system at the time. If our initial group of node owners wants to just still give it all to the developers, that's up to them. It's going to be a group of people that need to have discussions and vote and figure it out. Can there be a case where people supply tau in a node and share reward pools or something? That's interesting. I think that might be possible. Not right now. I don't think right now, but that's a cool idea. I was just trying to think if you could somehow come to that with a smart contract with today's system, and I can't get there right now in my head. You recently implemented the Bi-Directional token bridge in BSC. Is there a possibility to facilitate these connections for other tokens? Okay, so here's the deal with Lamden Link and everything. So Lamden Link currently works bi-directional for tokens that were created outside of Lamden. So that's why we have wrapped Ethereum coming in. We have BET, dealers credits coming in, USDT. Those things are all created outside. And for some technical limitations, we put tau. Tau was created inside of Lamden. It's the only one on Lamden Link right now that is like that. And when it was created, we just made it one way because from technical limitation standpoint, it was easier. And people wanted it quick, so we did it. So that's when the two directional comes into play for tokens that were created in Lamden, and now we want to take them from Lamden and put them to other blockchains. That's when tau will become two directional because tau will use that same mechanism. So right now, like WP, Rocket Swap, they're kind of in the Lamden ecosystem, which is fine because that's where they're supposed to be used anyway. You can take them to centralized exchanges right now, but when we get the two-way bridge, the two-way bridge for tau is the same mechanism that tokens in Lamden now will use to get out. So yeah, then we can start putting those into Lamden as well. this turned into just like a questions with Jeff. Andy, is there is there something else that we can move on to?
We can show Nebula now.
When picks the whale hats? That's a great question.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hopefully, Rob is working on Lamden shirts and Rocket Swap shirts and hats and stuff. So hopefully people buy those. I don't know. I mean, I'll buy a bunch. But yeah, okay, back to you, Andy.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm actually going to kick it to Eric. He's on the call.
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep. Sound good?
Yep. Okay. So, hey, so again, my name is Eric. You'll probably see me as MLLR on Telegram floating around. So I'm part of the Nebula team, kind of doing the management and some of the initial DApp conceptualization, and Endogen and YME are the other team members for Nebula. So Endogen's doing all the contracts and some of the backend stuff for the site, and YME is doing the front end and a lot of the backend for the site. And kind of as a team, we'll keep building out our first version 1 of the site, which is all the vaults and liquidity locks, and then keep going on to some more apps in the coming months. We have a bit of a big roadmap to get through, and we're going to do it one app at a time. So the main idea behind Nebula is creating, it's kind of two-sided. One side is catered to project teams or developers who are coming to Lamden to start a new project. So we want to create reusable infrastructure, I'll call it, for them to be able to come in, quickly use, and then get back to developing their own projects. So the main example of that is our yield vaults. So, Ataxia briefly mentioned fair launches on Lamden, and Nebula was launched fairly, and RocketSwap was, and pretty much every other project on Lamden is launched fairly. So part of a fair launch is token distribution. So the vaults are basically a mechanism for token distribution for fair launches is, I guess, the primary use. So if you want to, Andy, show one of the yield vaults.
You mean to go to yield vaults?
Yeah, the time lock. So this is set up for a Nebula vault where you stake in Neb and Neb, but you can envision this as being used for any token in the Lamden ecosystem. So basically, I'll describe it in the context of in an external vault. So somebody else coming in and creating a vault, and then I'll briefly explain how Nebula is using it to reward our ecosystem contributors. So you could come in and choose how many tokens you want to distribute, the maximum of stake for the tokens, and then have people come in and stake. So I'll just back up. Basically, you have a vault, you can stake. The time lock is a fixed period of time, so you stay locked within that timeline. Once the time lock is done, so just read the Neb key comments. Once the timeline is done, you can withdraw from the vault, and you withdraw your original stake plus a share of the emissions. So I'm just going to quickly walk you through, I guess, the process for users to create their own vault on Nebula, which should kind of give you some of the details that go into it. So we can go in, we can select yield vault. Okay, so you come in, you choose what token you want to have users or your community to stake. And the next part is you choose how many tokens you want to release in this vault. And then if you're doing a fair launch, you can choose to have a developer fee. So developer fees are only sent to the developer at the end of each of these vaults instead of at a lump sum at, you know, the start of minting the token. So that way, project teams are rewarded as they kind of develop the project and make sure that they are going to be incentivized to keep building. So that's the developer fee part of that. So the next part is you can choose, because it's a time lock vault, you want people to know exactly what they're getting out of a vault. So you're locking a token, you don't want any unknowns. You don't want people to come in and say a whale comes in and stakes 50% of the vault, and then your emissions are reduced to nowhere near what you thought. So we have a fixed total emissions and a fixed total stake, and that guarantees that you know exactly what you're going to get when you stake in a time lock. So we can go next. Okay, here you choose the duration of the vault. So it could be 1 week to 6 weeks, or really as long as you want people to lock their tokens. Obviously, you want to create something that is realistic. If it's too long, people won't lock their tokens. If it's too short, then there's not really much point of doing it since it's not actually locking up any supply. We can continue. So this is just a summary of all the inputs. It looks like a lot, but I think once people start using it and once people start creating it, they'll get used to it, and it should be pretty straightforward to use. So at this point, you just make sure everything's correct, and if not, you can go back and edit one of the inputs, and then you'll be able to submit the vault. And once you submit the vault, it'll show up for users or your community members to come in and stake into. So you need to expand one to show. So this is the view. Yeah. So you would come in and as a user, say a new holder of whoever created this external vault, you come in, stake your token, and then once you're staked, you're locked in, and you wait for the posted duration. Say it's 7 days. You can come back in 7 days, withdraw, and you get your stake and whatever emissions you were promised. So if the staking token and the emission or yield token is the same, then we can give you an actual minimum return target. So instead of an API, we're going to calculate the actual number of tokens you're going to get once you stake in a vault. So this assumes that the vault is at 100% capacity. If it doesn't reach 100% before it locks, then you'll actually get more, because your share of the emissions is based on your percentage of the total stake in the vault. So pretty straightforward. Again, we just need to get people in here using it. You'll quickly look, you come on, find the token, check out your expected return. Okay, you're okay with how long you want to lock it for, and then you go ahead and lock in the vault. So that's kind of the walkthrough of how somebody outside of Nebula would use their own vault. And then Nebula, of course, is also using the vaults to reward our ecosystem contributors. So, you know, we had a fair launch, and as of December, 100% of our tokens will be circulating, which is great. I think one of the problems that a lot of projects have is once they do a fair distribution, you know, token holders are still looking for rewards. Like you see with Tau almost every day. Hey, how can I stake Tau? You know, so this is kind of a mechanism for us to continually provide rewards for our holders, and more importantly, or as importantly, our liquidity providers. So all of our fees from vault creation or our future services like OTC trading are going to come back into kind of our internal Nebula vault and be used to be distributed through a series of these time lock vaults for our holders. So we'll always have one of these vaults live for Neb holders. So if you hold them, you'll always be able to come and stake your tokens in at least one vault, likely more than that. So and briefly, we can look at the staking levels. So on an external vault, so for other non-Nebula vaults, there'll be there's a fixed max stake in the vault, and that again ensures that there's minimum target reward. So for external vaults, we'll have like a max percentage per user per vault. So say you can say each user can only stake 5% of the total stake. So again, so it doesn't get diluted. So our target is not to provide benefits to whales, it's to provide benefits to the average liquidity user or provider and holder. So we have a system kind of tied back to providing liquidity on RocketSwap, where your max percent of staking in each Nebula vault is kind of limited based on how much you provide to the Nebula ecosystem. So if you provide more liquidity, you're taking more risk for Nebula. You should be rewarded more than somebody who isn't providing liquidity. But at the same time, we want everybody to be able to stake in the same vaults. So this is our system. You can kind of see the different levels and go through it on your own time. There's a very detailed Medium article on all of this, so I don't want to repeat everything. But you'd come in here, you connect the same wallet you use to connect your RocketSwap account to, which has your liquidity points on it. You come in and stake your Neb LP points in here, which will automatically establish your Neb level, and then that will limit what percentage you can, what percentage of the stake in each vault you can achieve. So again, that sounds like a bit of a process, but I think once we get people using it, it'll be pretty straightforward, just a couple clicks and you'll be ready to stake. So that's one type of our yield vaults. I'll quickly go over the other two types of our yield vaults and blocking liquidity. So we can go back to yield vaults. Okay, so we'll go into survivor vault. Okay, so again, I mentioned that some projects will or may run into a problem where once they have no more tokens to distribute, if they don't have any kind of token mechanism to, I guess, accrue tokens back for rewards, I wanted to come up with a way for vaults to be self-funding. So we could create any vault for any token, for any ecosystem, and have people stake and also get rewards. So these are set up almost identical to the time lock vaults. There's a posted time you've committed to lock, but you now have the option to unstake at any point. So if you unstake during the posted duration that you've agreed to, you get taxed for the convenience. And that tax goes back into that vault. And anybody who lasts or survives to the end of that vault shares the total tax from people leaving. So we can do this for Neb. We probably will add a bonus to this to kind of self-seed the Neb ones. But if you look at something like Tau, you have all these holders who, especially new people, maybe don't want to jump into other tokens or provide liquidity on RocketSwap right away. They just want to hold, and they bought, and they're excited about the project, and they're committed to holding for 6 months or $32, right? So if you're confident you're going to come in, hold, you still have the option to unstake at any time, but you can yourself, so you come in, stake, and then leave it up to human nature for people to unstake, really. If it could be anything. If price goes up, what's a 5% haircut when I have a 5 times, right? So come in, and then we'll have different durations for different survivor vaults, from 3 weeks to 9 months. And then we really need to just let it, post the vaults, let people interact with them, and then see what happens. If, we'll start with something shorter, like 3 weeks. If not enough people leave in a 3-week window, then we can create vaults with longer timelines to kind of incentivize people to leave to fund the vaults. So that's the survivor vault. Again, the external people won't be able to create these. The Nebula team will be the only ones creating these to start. But if you have a project and you want to post a survivor vault, you can just come talk to us, and we can put that up for you, no problem. And the last one, I'll just go quickly, is the battle vaults. So this one's kind of an experiment, or a social experiment, where we'll have 2 different survivor vaults connected to each other from, not competing, but just 2 different communities. So it's really community versus community. Who can, you kind of get enough people together without really talking, because you can just come in and stake. And once the 2 survivor vaults are filled, it's all about which side has the highest retention rate during the posted time. So say we probably won't start with 90 days, we'll start with 30 days. We can do RocketSwap versus Neb. By the end of the 30 days, whatever side has the highest retention rate gets the taxes from the other side and from their own side. So if you're on the winning side, you have kind of double the tax if you survive to the end. And if you're on the losing side and you survived, worst case is you get 100% of your tokens back, and you lose out on the tax, but it's worth the chance, because it's fun, it's for the community, and there's really no risk. So that's battle vaults. And the last thing is, we have it labeled as liquidity vaults. That's a bit confusing. We're gonna change that to just locked liquidity. I think most people know what locked liquidity is, where you provide liquidity, usually a seed or original team liquidity, when you're creating a project on RocketSwap. You can gain trust that from your new community, that you're not going to run away with their funds after an initial increase in price, and you withdraw liquidity or rug them. So you can come here. We'll have a way to interface to create it, just the same as the yield vaults, but much simpler. So you choose what LP points you want to lock, the duration, and that's it. So we'll post it. You can come and check which projects have locked liquidity, and you could lock it forever if you wanted, or just for a year. You could also come and lock team tokens in here if you wanted to. It's a third-party contract, so everybody can trust it and verify it, and it's posted here. So I think this should strengthen community projects, especially new projects. Lamden's kind of starting to really explode, so we're going to get new developers, new projects in here, and we don't really want barriers for new developers to have to lurk around Telegram for 6 months and gain trust before they can launch a project. So they can launch a project as soon as their product's ready or they're ready. They can come in here, lock liquidity, distribute tokens back through one of the yield vaults, and then kind of gain an initial use for their token while they're building out their dApps, or just reward liquidity providers for their dApps. So pretty excited to get all this out. We're going to be getting hopefully the time lock vaults, yield vaults out within the next 2 weeks or so, and that'll be with external vault creation as well. And then we'll be kind of rolling into Survivor and Battle and lock liquidity over the coming weeks. So by the end of the month, we'll have all of the vaults and lock liquidity live on the site, and then we can move on to the rest of our roadmap. I think that's it. Sorry, that was a little bit longer than it should have been, but happy to go through any questions. I think Enogen's on the line as well, if there's any technical questions about the comments or the contracts or the vaults. So we'll be here, excited to get it out.
It was great, Eric. Again, the site looks amazing. Is this Andy's doing?
This is Andy again.
Another Andy masterpiece. Can you talk about the neb keys and how many neb keys are there and how valuable are these things?
That's a good question. So, you know, we've been working on the site for the last 2 or 3 months, and we knew it was gonna be a bit of a process to get these apps live. So we wanted to reward the current and early token holders of Neb for supporting us, and a way to do that was a staking contract of 1 million Neb each one, and at the end of the contract you were issued a key, a Nebula key. So the Nebula key, I think there will be about 63 of them issued once the contract has ended in a couple of weeks. When the vaults are live, people can withdraw and get their key. So the key is kind of a discount token. So if you have your key staked in this UI here, you'll get discounts on our services, like OTC trading, token builder, all the stuff in the kind of our version 2 of the site. And it also replaces the need to have any liquidity points staked to get a level 3. So if you stake a Nebula key, you can stake for 1% of the yield vaults, versus having to stake 37.5 LP points for 1.5%. So it's the only way to basically get a decent percentage of staking without providing liquidity. So the values there, I think they're going for $600 to $800 currently. As we release more and more services or apps or whatever you want to call them on the site, more discounts, so they should become more valuable over time. So
if you have a Neb key, you probably only need about 6 of them, right, to get all the way to the top?
You can only stake 1 Neb key in here. So it's not a bonus to your LP points. It's just a replacement. So,
I'm just reading this. I assume that each key you stake puts you up a level. That's not how it works.
No. So if you're staking, if you look at the level 5, if you stake 75 LP points, you'll get 3%, but that's higher than the Neb key. So if you've been hoarding Neb keys on that assumption, unfortunately that's incorrect.
Jeff, it sounds so nasty,
so dirty.
This is hilarious.
So yeah, I mean, there's 63 neb keys, right? So we can't provide bonuses to everybody, or else there won't be any incentive to provide liquidity. So that's why they're limited, and that's why it's only at 1%, but it's still quite a big benefit if you average it out between 18 and 37. So 25 LP, that's, I don't know, 50,000 tau or something, 30 or 40,000 tau right now, I think. I had to double check, but it's a pretty big benefit just on the staking levels alone.
Sounds great. Any more questions for the Nebula team? Key or non-key related? Stu is on a plane right now. Did we say that? Stu was supposed to make it, but his flight got messed up, and he's now on a plane instead of having been waiting for a plane. All right. Thanks, Eric. Great job.
No worries. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Andy?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Eric. I know how hard he's been working on Nebula, and yeah, that's just his vision come to life. So he's been awesome to work with. So thank you. And yeah, this whole community is amazing. So everybody just get building. Let's all build some cool stuff on Lamden.
So that's it?
That's it.
This thing's wrapped? Oh, my kid's about to walk in the door. 1 second. Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining. I mean, I can stay for a couple minutes and answer some questions. I don't know if anyone else wants to stick around or everyone's sick and tired of this, but if that's what people want to do. But I appreciate everyone for presenting. This community is full of talented people, as you can all see. Hopefully we get a lot more talented people and this thing just blows up. That's the goal, and we're getting there. I think we're getting there. So that's good news. So I appreciate everyone coming out. And Andy, is this a monthly thing? Is that what you're intending?
I think it's up to all the people on the call. What do you think?
Oh man, I'll come to a weekly thing. I don't care. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
I do have one question for Andy.
Yeah.
Will there be a landing page for maybe developers, just like a forum, or just like what's the name of the page again? When you have some trouble and you can just search it in Google, and then you will have that page OpenStax or something like that. What was it?
It sounds like Jeff had a little tidbit that he gave us that it does sound like. Jeff, do you have any more information about the developer page?
So there's no, I mean, a developer page is a developer page. So I don't know. It's just going to be better than what we have now. It'll be largely the same information until we can get some more added, but it'll just be, I guess, easier to navigate and look better and be more presentable.
Yeah, I was thinking more of a forum where the developers can discuss things. Maybe a developer has some issues on his side, and then you can just point it out. Maybe you can use Discord, but maybe also something like a forum where issues can be discussed or existing issues can be saved for later, maybe.
That's like, I guess, so that we have two different things that are available but aren't really being used. I mean, Discord is there. We have a lot of people talking about trying to like revive it and everything. And there's kind of a debate as to what's better, Telegram or Discord, or both. But there's a developer section in Discord, and for some reason I don't get the notifications for it. So I go in there and there's a bunch of questions not being answered. So I apologize, but and then there's like the GitHub if you want to put an issue in on something, or some of the repos even have discussions. We've had discussions going on. I mean, these are resources that are available. They're just not being used to any great effect. What generally happens is people come into Telegram and ask questions.
Yeah.
Ideally, the new developer page maybe funnels people all to the same place, which would be helpful. What that place is, though, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's something for later, maybe then. Cool, man. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Yeah.
Andy, also.
Are we looking for VC funding? Not me personally. I don't know what Stu has in mind. Okay.
Hey Jeff, I had a comment maybe. Okay. Not really a question, but maybe a comment. I mentioned to Stu some time ago that it would be really, really good to have kind of a list with things that you guys wanted to have done. Maybe not really something that goes into Gitcoin, but maybe some stuff that smaller things that might maybe not make sense to outsource to Gitcoin, but maybe something that needs to be done, but that you don't have the time to do, so that maybe some community members could come up and just do that. And one specific thing maybe that I would really love to see is an endpoint for total supply and circulating supply and something like that, which would maybe make it easier for coin aggregators like CoinGecko and so on to really display this data in the same way.
So I kind of missed the question. You were kind of in and out a little bit.
I would really like to see a list, of things that might be cool to have, but you guys don't have the time to do that because you obviously need to concentrate on focus on things like
you don't think Gitcoin
the endpoint is necessary in the end, But...
And Gitcoin doesn't satisfy that?
Sorry?
Well, we have like the Gitcoin stuff, but you said you don't want that on Gitcoin.
Yeah, I don't know. It's nice too, of course. I mean, if somebody can do this, then it would be good to have it at least there. Yeah. I think there are a lot of small tasks that maybe it's an overkill to have that on Gitcoin. Maybe not. I mean, if we can put this all on Gitcoin, then even better. Great. But maybe we can't put everything in there. So kind of a simple list of things that you'd like to do, but just don't have the time, and just too much to just outline everything for Gitcoin bounty. But if we can do that with Gitcoin, then that would be, of course, that would be great. Yeah.
At this point, I think we love Gitcoin. We've had so many good contacts come from that. This wallet guy now, we don't even use Gitcoin anymore. I just send him work and he does it. And I've almost never had that, so it's fantastic from like a developer standpoint. So he's been a good addition to the team. And if you have some little things that you guys want, let us know. We kind of have everything we kind of want up there already. So I would just use Gitcoin. I think it's working out pretty well.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, guys, I think thanks for coming. Let's probably shut this thing down, I guess.
Cool. Thanks, all.
All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks for organizing it, Andy.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.